Hi, ladies. Good morning. Good morning. So, as I'm pinning this video at the top of our Facebook group, which make sure you're in there, macro tracking and weightlifting for women, I just want to share. Let's see, where's my video? I just want to share. I went paddleboarding for basically the first time yesterday. It was life changing. If you have never been, please go. It's so much fun. You can sit on it, you put your cooler on the front. Like it was just such a blast. So that was super fun. Wear lots of sunscreen. I'm very burnt. Okay, so I'm going to talk through like why I really believe that learning to hit all three macros is so much better than just hitting protein and calories. And so I'm just going to break down my philosophy of why. Now, for those who are in the space, right, in the fitness and nutrition space, a lot of different trainers say different things, right? There is a lot of science to training and nutrition naturally. There is also a lot of art to training and nutrition, but also make sure you really understand who the audience is that the trainer is speaking to. For example, I speak specifically to women who already lift weights, right? You're putting in the work at the gym, you're doing the best you can, but you know there's more results out there, right? You know, lifestyle wise, body wise, health wise, you know that there's more out there. That's really who I speak to. Our macro calculator, as a reminder, is for women who lift weights. Some women say, oh, there's so much carbohydrate. It's like, well, if you're not eating that much carb, you need to slowly work yourself up. But the reason we have so much carb is to fuel your training demands, which I'll talk through, okay? So, for example, actually, one of our trainers, Megan, she sent me a reel on Instagram from, I think it was Squat University, right? We love Squat University. And she said, what do you think about this? And he was going through the Bulgarian split squat stance. And I said, that's beautiful. It's perfect, right? But remember who he speaks to. He speaks to functional training, right? He doesn't speak to bodybuilding and physique development, right? Which is who we at Queens of Iron, that's what we do. We take bodybuilding and healthy lifestyle and we bring it into one. So you can have a body that you love, you're super healthy, and you're learning how to just be fit and feminine and love the skin you're in as a really healthy lifestyle. So I told her, I said, that's perfect. And that is great for functional training. We do that as a quad dominant Bulgarian, but the glute dominant, we push our foot out, right? And so it's not that it's wrong. It's a different intent and it's a different philosophy and it's a different desired outcome. Okay. So really make sure that you understand who the person is speaking to before just taking blind advice. That's why there's so much misinformation out there. There is, but also it's because people don't understand who the target audience is. Okay, so just make sure that you really understand who that is and where they're getting their information. All of my research, all of my information comes from peer-reviewed research. I always look in the past 3 to 5 years, so it's most up to date. Peer-reviewed means it's way more accurate. It's gone through a lot of different processes to deem that it's, accurate research. And then also I've been training for almost 13 years. And so it's a lot of experience, right? Just seeing women's results, seeing different lifestyle, different behaviors, lots of trends. So that's where my info is coming from. Okay, so why do I recommend hitting all three macros rather than just protein and carb? I saw a comment in the group that said, only competitors should be hitting all three. For everyone else, it's just protein and calories. And that is complete trash, in my opinion. That is not accurate in the slightest, okay? So I believe that just hitting protein and calories is great for someone who's brand new, right? Hitting all three might be like, how am I possibly supposed to do this? Like I barely know what protein is coming from, right? So very overwhelming. So it can be a beautiful step. It's a beautiful step. For others who have a lot of experience and understand the process, in my opinion, granted prior military, so I'm going to be really blunt, it is a lazy approach, okay? And I'll explain why. Like, why do we need to have all three? What does it really provide for you? So that's what I'm really here to share today. Okay, so the first one is, when you fuel your body, so with energy, aka calories, food, right? When you fuel your body to meet your lifestyle and training demands, you're going to thrive mentally, physically, and emotionally, as much as depends on fitness and nutrition. What I mean by that is if you're an endurance runner, so you're running marathons, yet you're eating low fat and high carb, you're not going to have a good day. You're not going to perform as well. You're not going to feel as good mentally. You're not going to have as much energy. You're not going to recover as fast. Why? Because marathon running's primary fuel source is fat, right? At a point, it may be carbohydrate in the beginning, but at a point, The primary energy source your body needs to sustain that endurance is fat. So great, you're hitting your protein, great, you're hitting your carb, but you're not training, you're not eating to support your lifestyle and training demands. You're going to suffer. Your body, your recovery, your mind, everything is going to suffer. The opposite is true for weightlifting, right? If you're eating way too high of fat and not enough carbohydrate, you're not going to build muscle as efficiently. And ladies, if you're lifting weights and just life in general and not eating enough carbohydrate, your body's actually going to take your protein, convert it to glucose, which is carbohydrate, so your body can have energy, right? So your brain, your basically the primary energy source for everyday living, can have energy. So if you're not eating enough carb, your body will pull from protein. If you're not eating enough carb and protein, your body's going to pull from your muscle mass. So it's like, oh my gosh, hitting protein and calories is great, but there's more to it, right? The primary fuel source that our body needs to thrive, to build muscle mass, to have energy in the gym, and to support the training demands of lifting weights is high carbohydrate, right? The Queens of Iron macro calculator is actually considered really high protein, which is so funny because women say, oh, this is like hardly any protein. Comment protein research review below if you want to dig into the research with me about what a healthy amount of protein is. If you believe that it's 1 gram of protein per pound of body mass, you need to watch this video. That went through the telephone game, and somewhere along, someone changed kilogram to pound, and it's confused everybody ever since. So we did an in-depth protein research review about this. So comment below, I'll send you that video, okay? Okay, great. So the other thing that it does, learning to hit all three instead of just protein and calories, is it helps you build habits, right? It helps you build really balanced meals. So you're not having meals super high fat, super high protein, low carb. And then the next one, it's like skyrocketed carb, low protein, high fat, like just all over the place. When your body has more balanced meals throughout the day, you have more sustained energy throughout the day, right? What is that going to do? You're going to be more productive. You're going to feel more patient. You're going to be in a better mood. You're going to have more energy for daily living. You're just going to feel better, right? Having super high fat in one meal, for some women, that causes us to feel lethargic. Or it's like, oh, I don't want to do this work right now. I just feel so tired. A lot of times that's food quality, right? So the food choices you're actually choosing. But other times it is just having that imbalance in your macros. So simple fix, right? So as you can see already, there's so much benefit health-wise, mentally, physically, emotionally to hitting protein, carbs, and fat and ignoring calories, unless you're drinking alcohol, right? Than just hitting protein and calories. But there's more. This one is huge, ladies. It prevents body fluctuations, big body fluctuations. Small fluctuations are totally normal, right? Although they don't typically happen in measurements as much as this scale, like at all. This scale does it a lot, right? If you one day have low carb, high fat, but you hit your protein here, you hit your calories. The next day you hit high carb, lower fat or moderate fat, and a good amount of protein, your weight is going to shoot up. For some ladies, 4 pounds. And you're going to freak out and be like, my body doesn't like carbs. That's it. Or my body doesn't like bread, or my body doesn't like this. That might not be it. When you have more glucose, especially like a big jump from one day to the next, so increase in carb, right? So increase in glucose, your cells are going to retain water. You're going to feel fluffy. You're going to feel bloated. The scale is going to go up. It's not a problem in how your body is processing carbohydrate long term, meaning it doesn't necessarily mean you're not good at processing carbohydrate. It just means that you're causing these huge fluctuations in your body because it's trying to process this massive change of macros each day. Is that making sense, ladies? Let me know if you have questions on that, okay? So the great benefit of being really consistent throughout the week, protein, carb, fat, all 3 days, your body regulates really well. You feel better health-wise. You feel better energy-wise. Your digestion is better. Ladies, your hormones are more regulated, so much more, rather than doing these massive jumps and change in macros with the carbs and the fat, okay? There are exceptions to this, right? So let's say, for example, let's say that you're going to a social gathering and you have no idea what is going to be there, right? We don't have ladies like, okay, well, make sure you track every single thing at this social event before you put it on your plate. Like, We don't do that, right? We like to have a realistic lifestyle. So what we say is, okay, fill your protein until you have like 30 grams, I would say 25 to 30 grams left in your MyFitnessPal diary. Fill in all your fruits and all your vegetables, then see how much you have left, right? So we do save like some carbon, fat, and calories for social events and do have them eat most of their protein, and then they don't track. It's just like a lot of mindfulness in most cases. That is not the same as doing this every single day because you don't want to figure out how to hit it. I feel like most women that I can't, let me know if this is not you, but I feel like, well, actually, you too, but I feel like most women who don't hit their carb and their fat or all three, it's because they just simply don't know how. They don't have the tools. And so it's taking a long time. It's confusing. It's overwhelming. So they just don't want to take the time to learn it. Understandable. It's hard, or it's not hard, but it's a dense subject, right? It's a lot to learn. And if you're busy and have a family and a career, it's a lot to learn. It makes sense. Does hitting protein and calories, is that better than not tracking at all? Absolutely. And you're building beautiful habits that way as well, because you're learning how to have the right calories for you. You're learning how to have, hopefully, good portion sizes. You're learning how to get enough protein. Wonderful, right? Stepping stone. Then the next stone is, okay, now I'm going to learn pre-planning. I'm going to learn how to be flexible, adapt and overcome when my plans change and I have to totally swipe what I had for dinner and delete it all and add something different. In the beginning, it's time consuming, and that's okay. The more you practice it every day, day after day, day after day, the more you practice it, the easier it gets. Then it gets so easy. You barely even have to think about it. It's really fun, and you feel so good. You feel so good. You can't feel as good health-wise, mentally, physically, emotionally, in my opinion, and with science and research and experience, so you can't feel better hitting protein calories than you can hitting all three. It's just impossible, because you're giving your body the opportunity to regulate and get really steady and stay in equilibrium. But when you're going high carb, low carb, high carb, low carb, your body's like, I don't feel good. This is so much stress. I'm trying to process. I'm trying to do all these things, and it's confusing and it's hard and it's taking so much energy, right? Digestion is different. There's so many things. So those are, so I said shortcuts are never worth it. You're living more optimally this way, hitting all three in every way, right? It takes more effort, but what happens when you put more effort into something? You get a better result, right? Always. You put more effort into tracking your finances. Are you going to have a better financial plan? Heck yeah. What's up, Megan? Good morning, love. Oh, I love her. If y'all haven't met Megan yet, she's one of our success trainers at Queens of Iron. She's incredible, great coach, great trainer. Glad to have you, love. So yeah, ladies, what questions do you have? What do you feel as I'm sharing this? Is anything coming up for you? Please comment in the chat, because I'd love to just get a temperature check. Like, are you sitting here like, oh my gosh, I never thought about it that way? Or are you like, yep, I knew it. Yep. Or like, how are you feeling right now? Any questions? I know that was like 20 questions. I hope you guys are having a great weekend. I'll just chit chat with you a little bit. I hope some questions come in or some comments, but if not, it's great. Like, I'm here to love you. I'm here to serve you, support you. And I know some people just don't want to chat, and that's okay, right? I'm here to meet you where you're at, right? Good, miss. I love that. Good. Yep. I try to break it down, because it's not just like, oh no, we should just do it this way instead. It's like, but why? Why should we really do it that way, right? And so we always want to come on and be like, here's exactly the reasons why. Just break it down really easy. What's up, Annie? So I love you, Annie. So Annie's one of our clients. She's been with us for a long time, Annie. I think like over 2 years, right? So we're talking about why it's way more beneficial for the body to hit all three macros: protein, carb, fat. Well, alcohol is the fourth macro, by the way, ladies. There are 4, but there's no biological value to alcohol. So why it's better to hit all three for the body than to just hit protein and calories. And it was like better regulation, hormone-wise, and just body regulation, definitely easier fat loss, definitely more efficient muscle growth, mood-wise, digestion-wise, all internal process-wise. It's better to hit all three, again, because of that regulation. But yeah, it's preventing these massive spikes and drops and all these things and da-da-da. Muscles. I love it, Annie. Miss, I love FitnessPal and pre-plan and track macros. Love it. Ladies, those who are not sure how to pre-plan your macros, or if you want a video refresher of like, okay, How do I hit all 3 macros in the simplest way possible? Comment pre-planning video below and we'll send that over to you, okay? I am about to jump off for the weekend, so we'll send it to you on Monday. Good. I love that this is helpful to you. Good. We always want to be as helpful as possible. Just be really blunt about the information and just share insight. We're always here to do research reviews as well. Ladies, I know it's on my list. I haven't done it yet. I apologize. Thank you for your patience. We are doing a research review on body shaping. I do want to share with you, ladies, what this is going to be is actually just showing you how to grow muscle. That's what the research review is going to be, right? Because body shaping, what are we doing? We're growing specific muscles, right? Let's say you want the more like fit hourglass figure. What do you need for that? You need a wider back. You need these beautiful shoulders, right? You need arms that are beautifully lean and proportionate to your shoulders, lifted glutes, beautiful toned legs, right? Depending on your hip frame, like how big of legs do you need, right? So it's all about just learning, how do I grow the muscles that I really want to grow, instead of being like, I'm going to lift weights and I really hope that, my body looks good at the end. Doesn't happen. We have so many ladies that are like, I'm 15% body fat, I'm jacked, and I don't like what my body looks like or how my clothes fit. I'm like, let's go into a reshape, girlfriend. You got this. So it's very important. So I'll go into that, and I'll share my philosophy too of like how I shape, volume like per week, just kind of the approach that I take with the research. So it will be great. It is on my list. I will get this, ladies, to you ASAP. So Annie says, why is it important to get protein with each meal? That's a really good question. So I'm going to take this as each main meal, because I don't believe that you need to eat protein every single time you eat. The reason is, well, partly because we do have way more carbohydrate than protein, right? And so as long as you're fueling your body for your lifestyle and your training demands, like that is most important, right? So I would say getting your protein in main meal is great. It's best to space out your nutrients, right? And so at least 3 times a day, I would say the protein, if you want to get it 4 to 5, great, because you're giving your body nutrients sustained throughout the day, instead of being like, I'm going to eat all my protein right now in this one meal. It's like, but your body also needs that nutrition, that source throughout the day too. So in my opinion, I think 3 times a day is enough to eat. I don't eat 3 times a day. I eat like 6 or 7, probably, maybe 5. But I would say at least space and balance your energy, so your food, 3 times a day to get that sustained energy throughout the day. So I think that answers your question, right? It's really sustained energy, definitely sustained energy. Balance in your meals, so you're not just eating 100 grams of carb in one meal, because your body's like, I don't need this much carb right now, right? Protein has processes in the body like repairing muscle mass. Fat has processes in the body like hormone regulation, digestion, all that. Carbohydrate has process and function in the body like growing muscle mass, giving you daily energy, right? Spurts of energy. So if you only have 1 or 2 and one's missing, there's processes in your body that need that nutrition, that need that support and that food source, right? That macronutrient source to function optimally. So it's really just all about functioning optimally, physically, mentally, emotionally, muscularly, right? I'm always struggling at breakfast. Annie, what do you feel? How do you feel about like, oh man, protein is good to get in the morning though. I have read research that getting a clean source of protein in the morning kicks you into fat burning mode. Haven't checked that research maybe in the last 2 years or so, but I know that was when I ran across is that lean source of protein in the morning does definitely kick you into fat burning mode. So Annie, what do you think about even just doing like a half of a shake, right? Just chug it down. Half. I'm trying to remember if whey is okay for you right now. Maybe vegan. I don't think we've talked about that, but I question if maybe whey is an issue. So maybe you could do like half a shake, or just something really quick that only takes a second, or a little bit of like lean body in your coffee, right? Gives you some protein in there, but it's not like you're having to cook a bunch of eggs or, big chicken breast, something like that. I hope that helps, love. Let me know if you have questions. I know you messaged me in Telegram. I'll pop in on Monday and we'll talk through all that as well. Okay. Oh, this is such a beautiful question. Do you recommend the same percentage of carb, fat, protein for all body types? Absolutely not. And the reason is because all body types process nutrients differently. I do want to add on this. If you go keto, or if you basically take away a macronutrient, what you're doing is teaching your body metabolic inflexibility. So you're teaching your body how to no longer process that nutrient, so carbohydrate, for example. So when you add it back in, because taking a macro out of your diet is not sustainable nor healthy. So when you add it back in, your body's like, I don't know how to process this anymore. I'm just going to store it as fat because I have no use for it. So bad, right? We want metabolic flexibility, which means your body can process all three macronutrients very, very efficiently. That being said, body type does make a difference. So there is something called an ectomorph, a mesomorph, and an endomorph. An ectomorph is typically super skinny. Some guys, they have a ton of muscle mass, but they're so skinny, or they just have a really, really hard time gaining weight. So ectomorphs usually always have a super, super hard time gaining weight. They can eat thousands and thousands of calories, and they just stay extremely thin. I don't want to always say just extremely skinny, extremely thin, because it's not everybody. A lot of ectomorphs have taken themselves into big muscle building, so they're not super skinny. However, it does take a lot of calories in almost all cases, so in most cases, to uphold that, right? So an ectomorph needs loads of carbohydrates, like as high as humanly freaking possible, like so high. Low protein, I would put for them just to get more in carbohydrate. I would maybe do a 1.4 per 1.4 gram protein per kilo body mass for an ectomorph, depending on the person, but I'll probably do 1.4, maybe 1.6 to get more carbohydrate. Low fat, low moderate, just for lifestyle, but they need excess carbs because they process them so well. Their body just needs it. A mesomorph, which is what I am, it's more like just kind of in the middle. Like you don't really gain a bunch of weight, like just kind of your set point is a bit more of an athletic body, right? Not saying I didn't gain weight. I gained 50 pounds in my pregnancy. I gave birth at like 205 pounds. Like it was the most insane time of my life, right? So not saying you don't experience that, but typically if you have your nutrition and your fitness on point, it's really easy to just drop it, feel great in your skin, right? That's a mesomorph. They can process all three carbohydrates or all three macronutrients equally well. An endomorph, which I know a lot of you ladies classify yourselves as endomorph, but you're not actually an endo, you are a meso. It's just needing to get the body fat off to show that, right? It's having the right plan to show that you're an endo, or sorry, to show that you're a meso. An endomorph is typically like all the weight is in your hips. All the weight is in your hips, your thighs, like it's really, really challenging to get the weight off. Not really challenging to get the weight off, but it is more challenging than a mesomorph. But you actually just need less carbohydrate and higher fat. Keto for a morbidly obese person may actually be a great diet for them short term and not take, so I shouldn't even say keto, I should just say high fat. Short term, because you want to make sure that you are getting lots of vegetables in, right? There's so many nutrients and carbohydrates, and again, you need it for sustained energy. However, someone who is at that level in their body, they do need higher fat because they just aren't at the point where they can process carbohydrate as well. For endos, we definitely have endos in the program, and we typically, it really depends on the woman. It really depends on her starting weight, but doing like a 1.2 grams of fat per kilogram body mass multiplier is totally normal. Whereas a mesomorph, we would do like a 0.75 or a 0.8 gram per fat per kilogram body mass, right? Not goal weight, but where you currently are. So it's quite a bit higher and then a lower carb for the endo. But we do like to reverse and like help them learn how to process carbohydrate better for sure, because it doesn't need to be huge extremes. And it does depend on the woman. How you can know if you're consistent in your macros and you're having like cravings for chocolate or chips or peanut butter or something like that, it may mean you need more iron, but it may also mean that you need more fat. And so if you are consistent in your macros and you're having these like wild cravings, it may be a vitamin or a mineral deficiency, or it may just mean that you need a macro shift. Like your body's just craving a little bit more of one over the other. Typically, I feel like for ladies, it's fat, especially around your cycle. Yeah, love it, Annie. Protein in your oatmeal. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, good. Beautiful. If you have more questions, we'll keep chatting through it too. Just let me know. Great, ladies. Awesome. Thank you for being here on a Saturday. I hope you're really having a great day. I'm going to hop off so I can go get my kiddo. But if you have any questions, please drop them below. Like truly, I'm here to serve you, support you, help you, take you just from one step at a time, right? Just keep you on the path to greatness, to health, to fitness, to thriving in your body, in your mind, in your life, so you can feel so much better and really create and live in the life that you love. super healthy, super fit. So you just don't have anything holding you back, right? In terms of like physically, right? You don't have anything holding you back. Like, oh, I can't keep up with you guys. This sucks. It's like, we should never experience that. And you can get out of it. So we're here to help you and here to help you optimize nutrition, optimize your life as well. Great. Okay, ladies, have a wonderful weekend and I'll chat with you later. Appreciate you all.